For the Mercury Men, I storyboarded every single shot of the film. So every shot has a sketch that corresponds with it. It led to roughly approximately 600 sketches were made. It was over a course of 1 week, full-time, non-stop sketching, at the end of which I had, a mangled cloth or a hand left. So I have a new appreciation for comic book artists and animators. So I was doing all these, these simple sketches, as you can see. They just were, very simple, very, very quick, and easy to, with marker sketches. I wouldn't spend more than, anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute per sketch. And several times, there were lots of times where I'd struggle to get a shot right. And you can see there's plenty of times where I mess up, or where I didn't get one right. Here it took me three, 4 times before I got the shot right. And in some cases I made, Edward look like a mangled frog man. And then I scanned them into the computer. And then we use a free to download program called Celtics to organize them so that we can drop the sketches in, assign them a shot number, give them a description, and then we can very easily organize them, drag and drop, organize them into scenes that correspond with the script. The process generally begins once we have a final script, once we have a locked shooting script. And it means that I sit down with the script, I'll read through a scene, and I just start to let the thing kind of play in my mind. What do I see? How do I see it? From what angles am I seeing it? And then I'll just begin sketching ideas out, kind of sketching them in order. Sometimes, you'll go through and you'll sketch, and then you'll look back and see some areas that you might want to try something bigger and whatnot. Storyboarding is it's the first time that you really get to see a visual of your film and how it plays out. It really starts to affect you once you can start to see whole sequences coming together, and you can actually visualize them. It'll spark new ideas. As a director, it'll help push you to think more visually and try and challenge and push yourself more visually. This is something that takes place during pre-production because it's much easier when you're not surrounded by dozens of people and you don't have equipment sitting there that costs money every hour. It's easier to sit down with myself and the storyboards and a script and try to foresee problems or work out areas and make creative decisions early on. We may come up with something better on set. But if for whatever reason the creativity just isn't there that day, I know I have something good to fall back on. I know I at least have the basis of it. Some of those shots, the storyboards match the final shot to a T. They're very, very similar. There were other circumstances where either I didn't know the location at the time, or that we would think up something better, or we would adjust it on the fly. And in that case, we could go away from the boards a little bit, and we could stray a little bit from that. But it's always nice to know that in a worst case scenario, we have something to fall back upon. It is a visual tool that I can give to the rest of the cast and crew to let them in on the story or the way I see the movie in my head, the way the movie plays in my head. And it's an instantaneous way that I can get across an idea to them, a framing, a setup, a feel for a scene. Instead of having to take 10, 15 minutes on a set and explain a shot. Well, the camera's going to move here, and it's going to do this, and it's going to do that. The first assistant director on our film, Ben, could call out, next shot is 16.7. Everyone flips through the storyboards, they get to 16.7, they instantaneously see the shot, and they can begin planning for it and preparing for it. And it allows them to see it, visualize it for themselves, and then it gives them the opportunity to contribute to it. My director of photography can look at it and then he can say, oh, well, if we're going to do this, then we might want to try this, or we might want to put a light here, or we might want to, do this. It also gives him the opportunity to foresee any problems that might come up with certain framing. For an actor, they get to look at it and they say, it gives them more information to make decisions with. And they look at the sequence, they see it's lots of close-ups. Well, then they know that this isn't going to be broad body gestures. This will be a more intimate scene. It's going to be more based on their facial expressions. And vice versa. If they see that it's all these very wide shots, it's a bit more epic of a scene, they know it's going to be more broad gestures. They know that they're going to be using their body language more to sell it. One of the chief roles that I have as a director is to guide the cast and crew towards a singular creative vision. It's a creative vision that we're all building together, but I have to make sure that we're all on the same path and we're moving in the same direction. Storyboarding is one of those tools that I can use to do this. So any visual cues that you can give people to kind of set their compass by, the better off, and the more consistent of a story of a film you're going to produce. Lots of directors do not have the ability to even do crude sketches. I know that there's a lot of directors out there that, you know, would be watching something like this and say, I can't even do stick figures. You can still do storyboards. Because one, there's lots of programs that you can download, that you can buy even, that have art assets already built into them, that you'd be dragging and dropping your characters and your objects just to get your framing, your blocking and whatnot. Even that would help. The other option you have is, if you can't, you know, you don't have to storyboard every single shot. So what you can do is you can team up with an artist, post an ad on Craigslist, or get in touch with an art school and try and team up with an art student that you can sit down with and you can describe a shot and have someone sketch it out for you. You know, maybe you're not going to get every single shot, but that there's a couple chief visuals, you know, really important visuals in your story that you really want to get across to your team. Have someone sketch them out for you. That could be very helpful. So storyboarding really is one of the most invaluable tools that I have as a director to help communicate your vision and help lead a team of people towards that creative vision.